Well, I first met Chauncey, I think, about 6 years ago when I first came to Minneapolis, and it feels like I've known him for about 20 years. I heard about him from other people first, and then when I met him, he exceeded the rumor. He has been a stellar role model and example for a love for the Lord, excellent in business, but being kingdom driven in all that he does. Yeah, when you look at Chauncey and you see how his life is unfolding and you trace it back to a pivotal moment where somebody invested. And when Chauncey needed that scholarship, it was there. And it's amazing because a scholarship is money, but it produced the things that money can't buy. So it's this odd tension between the value of the dollar invested and this life that is becoming miraculous and becoming a blessing. Watering the earth is what we say here at North Central University. And we just believe that there are thousands of Chauncee Hollingsworths out there waiting for that next generous scholarship gift and that heart. So yeah, he is everything that you want a scholarship to become.
There you go. That's what I would do as a kid too. I would do the same move over and over and over until I made it. I had to make like 5 in a row. When the idea of me going to college was, started to become more real, I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna pay for this. I have no idea on how this is gonna happen. To know Chauncey is to understand where I come from. My parents got divorced when I was 11 years old. Financially, we were super limited, and it was 6 of us. And we all lived in a 2-bedroom house. Me and my brothers, we all slept in the same bed. We had rats and mice, and it was super hard for me growing up. Me and my mom never had a good relationship. I think I reminded her so much of my dad, and a lot of her frustration and anger came out towards me. So growing up, my mom would kick me out the house, all the time. So when I was 16 years old, I got kicked out the house right before my birthday. I think it was like 1 o'clock in the morning in St. Louis, in the hood. So I was scared, I was nervous. I was homeless for I would say probably 2 months. I just bounced around from house to house, stayed with a teammate for a couple of weeks, stayed with a cousin for a couple of weeks. Because of that, that's what got me to even want to go to college. It's like I had to get out. I had to use this as an opportunity to get away from St. Louis and become the best that I can be. My 8th grade basketball coach, when I used to live in Minneapolis, told me about North Central. He hit me up and said, hey, do you want to attend? I got like 5 schools that you can sign up to. What school do you want to go to? And I filled out the application. I got accepted into North Central within a week. You're going home from deep. And then literally 2 weeks later, I get the welcome packet in the mail, and I see this long list of rules, and I'm like, what the heck is this? My first week at the convocation service, and my roommate started speaking in tongues. And I was like, I literally left out the chapel and I said, Mama. I called my mama like, my roommate's speaking in tongues. These people are crazy. They jumping up and down in chapel. I don't know what's going on. So it was like a big culture shock when I first got to North Central. She said, boy, anybody can speak in tongues. So that's exactly what she said. I thought it was just only, I thought only old people did it. So I had no idea. This dude's the same age as me, just going off. I'm like, what the heck? It's crazy. So I actually wasn't going to be able to come back to school my sophomore year. And then literally, I think it might have been like 2 to 3 weeks before school was about to start, I was trying to finish to sign up for my classes, and they were like, hey, you actually don't have enough money. Growing up, there was a lot of people that attended my high school that, they, after a year of college, they came back home and they was working at White Castles and McDonald's and doing nothing for real. And I always said that I didn't want that to be me. One of the admission people said, hey, we actually some kind of way randomly found a scholarship for you to come back. And that's how I was able to stay at North Central my sophomore year. Those finishing funds was huge for me. That allowed me to be able to come back my sophomore year and finish my education. But if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have been able to afford coming back to North Central. I did receive scholarships, which was awesome, but then I did also have to work a lot. I was working youth pastor, I was working at Lids at Mall of America, I was working valet, and I was starting my business. My business is Hoops in Christ. So Hoops in Christ is a basketball training organization created to build student athletes on and off the court, developing their spiritual mindset, but also their basketball skills. And I started this back in 2011. And my goal was to bring high-level skill development training to Minneapolis, because that was something that I grew up having in St. Louis. So I wanted to bring that here, but I wanted to do it with a spin and actually add a spiritual component to it to help these kids grow in their purpose and who God's calling them to be. Our motto at Hoops in Christ is person first, player second. In order for us to get to the skill set of a player, we have to get to the heart of the player. And that's been my main focus ever since I started my business, is caring for people. And I think by doing that, it separated me from a lot of other people that started getting into this business later on.
Hard work. Drop. 1, 2, good. Put down. I didn't even know what that was.
I've trained numerous of NBA players, WNBA players, Minnesota-owned Paige Beckers, a lot of kids that come out of Minnesota, Trey Holloman. I've trained a lot of these young players, and the main thing, even to this day, we do daily devotions together, because the main focus, like I said before, is all about people. Like, eventually this ball would go flat for everybody, but at the end of the day, you still got to understand, who am I and what is my purpose, and what are you going to put your identity in this game, or are you going to put your identity in Christ?
Lord, I pray that you just continue to bless us, strengthen us. Let us glorify your name with our gifts, our talents, and treasures, everything that you bless us with.
1, 2, 3.
I believe that there's no limitations. When God is giving you a gift and a talent, it's my obligation to be obedient and operate in my gifts and my talents. So my gift is loving people, but my talent is business. And I just learned how to merge both of those together. And I merged my passions, which is real estate and basketball training, to create opportunities, not just for me, but for other people, and to help other people's dreams and purpose come true. I actually got into real estate because when I started training some of my NBA players, they all did real estate. So one of my buddy Anthony Tolliver, like in the summer times when I would literally be here at North Central, we'd be sitting down between a workout and he'd be talking about, a real estate deal that he's doing with one of his friends back home in Springfield, Missouri. And I started to really research and figure out, okay, how many people in North Minneapolis actually own their house? Like, they actually own it. They're not renting, they own this thing. And the percentage was crazy low. There's still a huge economic disparity. I mean, if you look at even just Minneapolis in general, Minneapolis has a huge financial disparity. Real estate is an opportunity for me as a younger African-American male to be able to help educate people and give ownership opportunities to people in my community, but also to help create and establish some form of generational wealth for families. There's very few people of color that are negotiating these high-level real estate deals in this city. Very few. And I'm just blessed that I'm able to be one of those guys, even at a young age, to step in these rooms and be myself, but also open up opportunities for the next generation to be able to come with me. I couldn't have got through this process of college if it wasn't for the scholarships that I was given. Those scholarships is the reason why I'm able to be the entrepreneur that I am today, to impact so many other people and to train up another generation of leaders to understand how to do business, but do it with a Christian perspective. And I think that's a hard challenge and a hard balance for a lot of entrepreneurs that are believers, is trying to figure out, how do I do that? North Central is it is a place of home for me. And I realized this was my blessing place. I found my purpose. I married my wife. I proposed to her right in the middle of the center court at half court in the gym. We met the first time in the gym. I started my basketball ministry here in the gym. My life literally was altered here at North Central. So I feel like if it wasn't for me receiving those scholarships and being able to attend North Central and graduate, I wouldn't have been able to impact as many young people as I have over the last 10, 12 years. Jesus didn't just say, all right, figure it out. He said, I'm gonna give you the tools. And then you go be a fisherman, right? And then when you do that, then I'm gonna multiply everything that you touch. And I believe that that's the same call for all of us. Whatever gifts that we have, whatever we have in our hands, to go out there and be fishermen. And then let God bless every single thing that we touch.